feel more connected to one another. Would anyone like to go? And if you'd like to share, feel free to unmute. And while we're doing that, I want everyone to be taking some nice belly breaths, deep inhale, and then a pause, and then a complete exhale to really center yourself this evening.
Going to see artwork on Sunday.
Going to see artwork, great.
With someone very nice, special to me.
Oh, that's wonderful, Esther. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else? Okay, then I will have to share that we have a new family member, a new dog, who has joined the canine portion of our family and has been warmly welcomed by Coco and by all the humans. I was trying not to share and let other people go first, but you forced me to reveal right off the bat. So very exciting. This dog came into our lives just this week and made it even noisier and more fun. So you might get to see him. So, that's a way to get everybody to stay on the service, because maybe at the end you might get a little view of Hershey, our new little boy. He is the same color as Coco. They're like the chocolate twins. He's just a lot smaller. So that's my news. All right, anyone else? All right. So again, take some breaths. And I think there's something really special about welcoming Shabbat, about lighting the candles when it really is so dark at this time of year. We start our services at 6 p.m. throughout the year. And that feels obviously really different in the spring and summer than it does in December. So we are really lighting up the darkness. And of course, the holiday, which is coming just around the corner next week, is all about bringing light to the darkness. The holiday of Hanukkah, Chag Urim, the Festival of Lights. And when we bring this light, these tiny little lights, they're not huge. We're not making bonfires here. Hanukkah candles are really small. Shabbat candles are not huge. I think that they're a beautiful reminder of the power of something that seems small and not that impactful. But of course, flame can spread in destructive or in comforting ways. Warmth can spread, light can spread. So let's light our candles, and then we will welcome our angels with Shalom Aleichem. Got a little different setup tonight, so here we go. All right. Feel free to join along at home if you have candles. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת. All right, there's a poem that I would love to share. Oh, Josh, actually, that's a poem for later on. But there is a poem by Marge Piercy. Josh is doing the screen sharing tonight. So if you can grab that one, Josh, that'd be great, but I will also be reading it. And I wanted to share this from Marge Piercy, wonderful poet who whose book, The Art of Blessing the Day. And there it is on your screen if you'd like to follow along, but feel free to just close your eyes and keep doing your deep Shabbat mindfulness breathing if you want to just listen. A scarf trailing over the lilac sunset, fair weather clouds, cirrus, I don't know how to pronounce this, uncius, uncinus, silk chiffon, twilight softens the air, whispering, come, lie down with me. Untie the knots of the will, loosen your clenched grip, barren hills of bone. Here no edges to hone, only the palm fallen open as a rose about to toss its petals. What you have made, what you have spoiled, let go. Let twilight empty the crowded rooms, quiet the jostling colors, to hues of swirling water, pearls of fog. This is the time for letting time go, like a released balloon dwindling. Tilt your neck and let your face open to the sky, like a pond catching light, drinking the darkness. So we welcome Shabbat by welcoming the angels of peace. My son Gavi has agreed to accompany me for Shalom Aleichem this evening. And we're on page 24 if you're following along in the book. And Josh has put the link to the virtual prayer book right into the Zoom chat. And you can also find it on our website if you're following along through the live stream. Let's see, I want to make sure Gavi's visible. Gavi, can you move over a little bit? Move over a little bit more. There we go. There's the man. So consider, what are the angels of peace that you're welcoming? What might they look like? How do you envision them? What do they feel like to welcome them in? What do you need to let in this Shabbat? Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ba'achem leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seichem leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So, thank you, Gavi. That was awesome. I think there's a little bit of a sound issue that I'm trying to address, so bear with me here. Hopefully everyone can hear okay. So on page 13, we have Psalm 96. And I'm just going to sing a little bit of it. Sounds like tomorrow we're going to get a big storm. That's always a chance for appreciation of the power and the wonder of nature. We've had several big storms recently. The last windstorm knocked over our hammock from right off its, knocked over the whole stand. So our sages really understood the power of recognizing the power of nature. And in many of the Psalms of Kabbalat Shabbat, we see that power beautifully illustrated. Here, we're just going to sing a little bit about singing a new song out to God that the whole world should understand that it is in relationship to something greater than itself, in relationship to the great mystery. Shiru l'Adonai, shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai, kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai, baruchu shemo, basru miyom leyom yeshuato, sapru v'goyim kevodo bechol ha'amim, niflotav, ki gadol Adonai, umehulal meod, norahu, al kol Elohim, yai lai, yalai lai lai lai, yalai lai lai lai, yalai lai lai lai, yalai lai, yalai lai, yalai lai lai lai, yalai lai lai lai, yalai lai lai lai, yalai lai, yalai lai, yalai lai lai lai, yalai lai, yalai lai, yalai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai, yai lai lai. Let's move to Lecha Dodi. We're on page 20 and 21 in the prayer book, and Rabbi Jethro Berkman will be joining me on guitar. So the feeling of welcoming a friend, reuniting, reconnecting after being apart, that can be our kavanah, our intention for this evening. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalanai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalanai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur achad, ishmi'anu el hamichad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, l'shem u'ltiferet ve'litila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mekor haberacha, merosh mikedem netzucha, sof maseh b'machshavat tchila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 5.
כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללי יללי יללי, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללי יללי יללי, בני שבת נקבלה. We rise, if we can, in our bodies or in spirit, to face the entrance to our homes. Boi v'shalom atzeretz bala, gam besimcha uvetzorla. דודי לקראת כלה, יללי יללי יללי, בני שבת נקבלה. All right, now that we have, I think, very warmly greeted Shabbat, we are going to move into our Magadlu chant, where we recall moments of wonder, and Larry Green has offered to share a moment from the week. And I want to encourage all of you, whether it's a moment of wonder and awe, a moment of gratitude, or any other part of our liturgy, our prayers that we say together in these services, if you would like to bring something of your own reflection to introduce one of the prayers or verses, know that we would really welcome that. We'd love to bring more voices into these services. So please, you can put it in the chat if you're interested, or you can email me after Shabbat. But now I'm really delighted to hear from Larry.
This is the time of year when days are short and light all the more precious. And because days are shorter, this is also the time of year when we don't have to rise up at ridiculously early hours to enjoy a sunrise. With Denise, I'm presently blessed to be in a position to enjoy stunning sunrises every morning. And as I observe each sunrise, each uniquely exquisite in its own way, different colors through diverse cloud formations, I'm reminded of Judaism's teaching that the world is recreated every day. Every day offers new beginnings, new opportunities. So as we approach Hanukkah, our festival of lights, I would encourage each of you to partake in a sunrise, to contemplate the Judaic teaching of the recreation of the world every day, and to think about how this might serve as a new beginning, a new opportunity for you in your life. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Larry. Yasher Koach. So I see we're getting some moments of awe and wonder in the chat, which is wonderful. Before we go into our chant, if two more of you want to unmute and just share with everybody, you are welcome to do that so that folks on the live stream can also hear. Can be very brief. Go ahead. Go ahead, Hugh.
I'd like to make mention, since Larry spoke, of what he was responsible for earlier in the week, a wonderful lecture, a very timely lecture on the COVID virus, brought people together. Questions were asked, a lot of information, very timely, and a wonderful speaker. She was able to reach everybody in the audience at any level. She's just amazing. It was, I think, an evening of togetherness in many respects during this terrible time that we're going through. And
thank you.
Whatever else we do, we should say a word of whatever for the 300,000 almost who have passed on.
Yes. we will take that time to remember later in our service. But thank you, Hugh. I agree that was an awe-inspiring evening.
It was.
Thank you for that. Does one more person want to share?
Could I go, Rabbi?
Absolutely, Nathan.
So I think that a lot of people in this, first of all, thank you, and I think that a lot of people in this congregation know that I lost my father back in May, and I've been praying Shacharit at sunrise, Larry, every morning since then. Not Shabbat. On Shabbat, we do it a little bit later. But this particular Monday was just an awesome time for me. On Mondays and Thursdays, the synagogue where I go for Shacharit actually has an in-person opportunity so that they can read Torah. They won't read Torah if there's not 10 people physically present. And this week, for the first time in months, I got to see a live bar mitzvah kid read Torah for the Aliyah. So it was just absolutely great to see another 13-year-old come of age. It's something, and I actually knew the family too. So it was a really good way to start the week.
Thank you so much for sharing that. So let's harvest up our moments of wonder and sense of awe and sense of gratitude. And we'll chant Ma Gadlu. It's at the top of page 342 if you're in the book. You can sing with Rabbi Jethro, Hallelujah, or you can sing with me, the little more complicated Hebrew that really just means wow, what an amazing world. It's even more important to remember that when things feel so difficult. Hallelujah, 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 Magadlu, Maaseh We turn to Baruch Hu on page 28. Please rise in body or spirit for the call to prayer. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uven laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo, el chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, Amariv Aravim. We've been talking a lot about light this evening, which is appropriate for this midpoint of the month of Kislev. a very dark month, but also the month in which we bring light to the darkness. And Rabbi Adin Steinsaltz, Zichrono Livracha, he wrote about light. Light is the genesis, the creation of the world. The primary utterance of creation is let there be light. It's separation from darkness. The Midrash asks, from what was light created? The answer is whispered. God cloaked God's self in a white shawl, and the light of its splendor shone from one end of the world to the other. In other words, fundamentally, light does not belong to this world. Rather, it is an emanation of a different essence from the other side of reality. Light serves as the symbol of good and the beautiful, of all that is possible. So that was a beautiful reflection on light, and I share it with you now because in that blessing that I just chanted, the end of is about God who, or the force, the mystery that rolls away the darkness into day and the day into night. And we say, blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on the evening. We're on page 32 for Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu B'shokvenu u'v'kumenu Nasiach b'chukecha V'nismach b'dvivrei Toratecha U'v'mitzvotecha Le'olam va'ed כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נהגה יומם ולילה יומם ולילה ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל שמע Israel, Adonai, Eloheinu, Adonai, Echad. Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. We chant together the Ahavta, page 36. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בעם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. We turn now to Mi Chamocha. I think I mentioned this maybe in our last service, but our liturgy really runs the whole emotional gamut. It really gives the whole landscape of human emotion. We can find within our prayers so many emotions represented, and Mi Chamocha comes from Torah, comes from what the Israelites sang at the edge of the sea, looking back from the peril they had come through and narrowly escaped. So full of gratitude, but also recalling the fear that they must have felt. So now we're in a time of fear. We're in a time of the overused word uncertainty. Of course, life is always uncertain. But in the fear, in the darkest point of the year, in a terrible point in the pandemic, perhaps we can remember that our ancestors were able to look back with gratitude, having come out of their confinement, having escaped danger, and that can give us hope that we too will get to the other side, helping each other along through the sea. So we'll sing together. We're on page 40 in the book. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha neder b'kodesh, nora tehilot osei fele, nora tehilot osei fele. מלכותך ראו בניך בוקי הים לפני משה ומרים זילי אהנו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד יאי לי 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 יאי לי 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 יאי לי 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 Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai, yai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai. Going to turn to Hashkivenu now. We're going to remind ourselves that we will, just like our ancestors crossed the sea, we are going to cross through the darkness into morning. And few things remind me that everything's going to be all right more than dogs. So the new dog Hershey just came in. It was like he knew it was time to be a comforting presence, and he can stay in. So he's knocking at the door to get back in. So if that's something that comforts you and you have one at home, feel free to, pat that dog while we're singing. And if something else brings you comfort and a sense of, you know what, it's going to be okay. I can go to sleep. I can be in the darkness, and I will wake up to the light. And I will not take that light for granted, and I will use it. I will use that light to do my work in the world, to make more light where there is darkness. So we'll be on page 42, and Jethro will be joining me as well. Feel free to put in the chat also what makes you feel like you're going to...
Idan is going to start us off.
Good. Oh, Idan. Okay, we have another Berkman here on board. Idan Berkman's going to start us off. Oh, just one second. Sorry about losing the video. Idan will start us off for Hashkivenu. Everything's going to be all right. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom v'hamidenu shomreinu. Everything's gonna be alright. So this evening, we're going to begin our Amidah with a prayer that we be able to pray. And then we're just going to have some instrumental time for quiet reflection. Some of it will be quiet, some of it will be accompanied, but you can feel free to mute that if you would like some quiet time for your prayer, your meditation, your reflection. It's traditional at night to have the Amidah prayer be silent, actually. In Reform communities, it's frequently done aloud, but I like to sort of play with the practice of the Amidah, the standing prayer, our central prayer, and see, I think it's important to try different ways of connecting to our prayer. So this one will have a little more silence to it, but feel free to follow along in the book. We're beginning with that introductory prayer that we be able to pray. We may be able to express the inexpressible. We're on page 46 in the book. Adonai, sefatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. After our silence, we will come back together with a prayer for peace. We'll sing Yehi Shalom. We'll share the words on the screen. This alternative prayer for peace this evening, conclusion of our private prayers. Feel free to continue if you still have more to say, but I will join with Yehi Shalom B'chelech Shalva Be'armenotayich, line from Psalms. Shalom and Shalva are synonyms, but Shalva has perhaps a deeper sense of tranquility. Yehi Shalom B'chelech Shalva Be'armenotayich. 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 Yehi shalom bechilech shalva be'armenotai. May all who dwell on earth know peace. May all who dwell on earth be able to help bring peace. V'nomar, and let us say, Amen. We turn now to our prayer for healing of body or of spirit. We'll be singing Debbie Friedman's Misha Berach on page 253 in the book. At this time, I want to call to mind and to heart an incomprehensible number of people who are ill. We may not know anyone who is ill, or we may indirectly know people who are ill from COVID. We may know people who are very ill. So wherever you are in relationship to one who is ill, whether you're ill yourself or someone you know, at this time I want to call to mind those who are suffering from COVID-19. Today there are 215,548 new cases, and there are 100,755 people. This is just in the United States. 100,755 Americans who are hospitalized as of yesterday. Because the number is so incomprehensible, I think it's all the more important that we say it and that we take this opportunity when we pray for healing to try to give that number a face, if we can, faces. From our community tonight, and I invite you to put in, as you are already, into the chat, we have members of our community and anyone you know of who is ill, in need of any kind of healing, body or spirit for any reason. Please feel free to mention them in the chat. From our community, we pray for Molly Reese, Linda Hoffman, Peter Feldman, Fischel Ben Israel, Hetty Feldman, Kate Bingham, Eileen Schwartz, Chava Esther Bat Chaya Ruchel, Bechaim Yona, Sarah Robinson, and those we are mentioning here, we bring into our virtual space Chava Esther Bat Chaya Rochel, and Lisol, Alan, Marcia, Rafaela Bat Julia Ve'aryeh, Jane Reed, Lois Rubin, Susan Morris, Chava Esther Bat Chaya Rochel V'chaim Yona, Joanna Biederman Gray, Amanda Mead and their wife, Pita Shosha Bat Basha V'chaim. All those we hold in our hearts. We send them all that we can from our energy. We send them our prayers. We pray that those who are taking care of them have the strength and the wisdom to care for them and help them heal. Mi sheberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the to share just a few words of Torah this evening. At this time, our patriarch Jacob, we're in Parshat Vayishlach, the grandson of Abraham and son of Isaac, is trying to go home after 20 years in exile, following his theft of his twin brother Esau's paternal blessing and birthright, enabled and supported by their mother Rebekah. His deception was rooted in misrepresenting himself. Therefore, it might represent a kind of estrangement from his true self, perhaps that essential piece of each of us which is created in the divine spark and which we are to spend our lives manifesting as best we can. As Jacob and Esau's father lay dying, Jacob pretended to be Esau, the firstborn twin, so that he would receive his father's dying blessing. And you may know that Esau becomes enraged and threatens to kill Jacob, and Jacob flees to his uncle Laban's house in Haran and stays there until this moment where we are in Torah, where he's journeying back home and preparing to meet his brother. So many commentators across the millennia have commented on this most rich of parshiot, of parts of the Torah. There's so much here about identity. Jacob receives a new name in this Torah portion. The name he receives is Israel, and we become the people Israel, his namesake. He receives this new name after a very mysterious act of wrestling with an angel. We don't know if it's an angel. We don't know if it's a human being. We don't know if it's God in an angel form. What we do know is it's a mystery, and he is scared, and he wrestles. So many commentators have seen this as some kind of an internal wrestling with coming back into right relationship with his true identity, having really spent a lot of time deceiving, manipulating, and now there's a sense of an evolution toward his true self. So he's now going to reconcile with Esau. And if you think about twins, I guess Esau and Jacob were fraternal twins. They were very different in appearance. But you think of twins as kind of two halves of a whole. So maybe there too, Jacob, in his moving toward reconciling with his brother, his twin brother, after 20 years of estrangement, is also moving toward a different kinds of relationship with himself. So the text tells us that Jacob was left alone, and an ish, which means a human being, but we really don't know really what it means, wrestled with him until the break of dawn. But it says Jacob was alone, but it says Jacob was wrestling with an ish until the break of dawn. And that led our commentators over all these centuries to say, well, he couldn't have been alone if he was wrestling someone. And if he was alone, if he was wrestling someone, that someone couldn't have been another human being. So therefore, we have this sense of mystery. I believe that in Jacob's radical aloneness, which is emphasized in the text doesn't have to say Jacob was left alone, but it does. In his aloneness, stripped of his defenses and the walls that we all create around ourselves, Jacob wrestles perhaps with his innermost self, his neshama, his soul, from which he was estranged when he acted with deceit and with trickery. And then he gets this new name. How does he get the new name? The Ish, first of all, Jacob says to the mystery, to the Ish, let me go. Dawn is breaking. And Jacob said, I will not let you go unless you bless me. And the other one said to him, what is your name? So the Ish said to him, what is your name? And he said, Jacob. But he is then given his new name, this name Israel. Maybe he has to be in touch with who he has been all along, Jacob, in order to evolve into that deeper part of himself that he is meant to be. And he is called both Jacob and Israel in the rest of Torah, as we hear from him, and not really from him, but about him. So both those names stay with him, and we are the descendants of Israel. So there's a poem that a friend and colleague of mine, Rabbi Adina Allen, wrote about this whole idea of naming. And what does this mean when he says, please tell me your name? When Jacob says, please tell me your name. And Rabbi Allen writes, here on the screen, you can see it if you want to follow along. Please tell me your name. And God said, why do you ask what you already know? My name is none other than your name, and your name none other than mine. Ask not what my name is, but rather who it is you want to be. How do you want to learn your lessons? How do you want blessing to come? Ehiyeh asher ehiyeh. I can be anything you need me to be. God the Father, God of war, God of struggle. Ask then, what is it you're needing? What is it you're ready for? God of love, God of justice, God of tender care. Who I am is who you are ready to be. Tell me your name. Who I am is who you are ready to be. What an amazing interpretation that this mysterious being, this manifestation of the divine, is saying to Jacob, who's becoming Israel, that who God is who Jacob, Israel himself, is ready to be. I invite you to just reflect on that. It's deep, it's heavy stuff, but to think about the relationship of our own names and identity and what we need, what we're asking for, what we're praying for, what we want God to be. This poem, I think, really evokes what the God-human being relationship is, and is a beautiful drash, a beautiful interpretation of what this Torah portion can teach us about what that relationship is all about. I would love to invite maybe 3 people to virtually raise their hand on the Zoom if you feel moved to, and just share a 1-sentence thought, if you have one, about this poem. And we'll leave it up on the screen, and I'm going to try to make it so I can see your hands going up. You know what? You can just unmute yourself, actually. That will be easier. It's a pop quiz. Sorry.
As a convert,
Probably all need a minute to take it in. Bonnie, am I seeing you?
As a convert, as I choose my Jewish name, this resonates very deeply with me in terms of finding a spiritual home.
That could be a technical issue.
Can you hear me now?
Bonnie, I see you're unmuted, but I can't hear you. Can anyone nod if you can hear Bonnie? You can hear Bonnie. Okay, so I am having a technical issue. All right. Well, I am really sorry that I missed that and that I interrupted you because I couldn't hear you. Okay, one more. I hear someone. Is that someone talking? Larry.
I would say God is the world of possibility.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Yasher Koach. Bonnie, you're going to have to tell me what you said after the service. I'm so sorry about that. Oh, good. You're putting it in the chat. Thank you. Thank you. Does one more person want to share? Go ahead if you do.
It's a little bit about how God is within us and in our aspirations and our desires to become our best selves, and that it is our capacity to both aspire to that and to bring it to others in which the divine resides.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yasher Koach. So some food for thought for your rainy, snowy Shabbat ahead. Thank you so much for sharing. I really love to have us be more interactive. And maybe it will inspire those of you who are watching the live stream. Know that you can join anytime on the Zoom if you're able to do that. We're glad you're with us in any form. But if you do join on Zoom, then you can join us in these sort of interactive pieces of the service. So thank you all for sharing. And I will conclude our service now with Aleinu and then Mourner's Kaddish. Aleinu is on page 282. Please rise in body or spirit. Aleinu leshabeach la'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו At this time, our thoughts turn to those we have loved who are no longer with us in this world. I know some of you who are here are observing a yahrzeit for a loved one this Shabbat. If you'd like to unmute yourself and share the name of your loved one, please do that. And you may also wish to put it in the chat on Zoom or on Facebook, and then I have some names to share as well.
Alan Stark.
My dog, Ollie.
My father, Dr. A. Nathan Kaplan.
A tragic suicide at the Brook House yesterday.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So sorry.
My mother's Florence Muscat.
My mother, Sylvia Saroff Levine.
Sandy Kalmus.
My mother, Sandy Kalmus.
My father, Sumner Chertok.
May their memories be for a blessing. We also recall and honor the memory of those from our community or connected to our community. Judy Mabel, beloved Ohabei Shalom member. Adelaide Rosen, mother of Mitchell Rosen, mother-in-law of Alma. Kenneth Kalmanson, beloved second husband of Rabbi Emily Lipoff. Eileen Frumkin, mother of Peter Frumkin, mother-in-law of Sharon Greenberg. Norma Weber, mother of Karen Weber, mother-in-law of Edwin Salamanca. And as we heard, Sumner Chertok, father of Rachel Kalmus, all of whom have died recently. And to the Chertok Kalmus family, I'm so very sorry for your loss. We also recall at this time, before we recite Mourner's Kaddish, the 277,622 human beings who are living in the United States who have died as a result of COVID-19 to this date, and the 1.51 million deaths of citizens of our planet who have died to this date. Mourner's Kaddish is on page 294. To those who have recently lost loved ones, we are with you. We stand together with you. We walk alongside you through your journey of grief, and we're so glad that you're part of our community. Mourner's Kaddish is on page 294. Yit Gadal Kadash Shemei
Rava.
B'chayechon
לכל בית ישראל.
Ba'agala uvizman koriv ve'imru amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevarach Le'alam Ulalmei Almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal Shmei Kodesha B'richu. Le'ila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba min Shemaya v'chayim alenu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom alenu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom alenu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. So before we conclude our service this evening, I'd like to share some announcements. First of all, Spence Gould, who is so amazing at making sure we have our food drive at the high holidays and our toy drive over this holiday season, reminded me to announce that we have, for one more week, we're collecting Target gift cards or donations to buy gift cards for 250 families of inner city children who are being cared for at Boston Medical Center. We always have seen a lot of generosity from our community. Needless to say, you can make a big difference during this holiday season for many, many children who are struggling now even more as a result of this pandemic, who were already struggling with medical challenges and who are socioeconomically challenged as well. And I understand that there is, I just have to plug this, I wouldn't usually say this on Shabbat, but there is a sale on gift cards at Target that you can, so now I think is a good time to buy those gift cards and get them to us at the temple. All of your other announcements, of which there are very many, because we are really doing up Hanukkah this Hanukkah. We need that light more than ever. We need each other more than ever. I'm very aware, as are all of you, that as we are entering really the soon-to-be 10th month of this pandemic, and of being separated from each other and from our building in so many ways, points of connection and contact are just so important. And there is one way that you can see us in person, two ways you might be able to see us in person this Hanukkah. One way is that we've made what we're calling Hanukkah survival kits, which is a little bit of an extreme way to put it, but they will help you bring joy to your Hanukkah with some gifts from us to you. There's one for every member of our community, and I got to see some of you this morning when you came to pick that up. We have other times you can come to pick up on Monday, and as well for ARS families on Tuesday at pickup time for those kids who are in person. So, and if you need to make another time, we can do that. We also have a volunteer corps of folks who are going to deliver them to those of you who are living locally. You can get yours delivered as well. And we're going to make sure as best we can that everyone has this package. It will also include Hanukkah candles and a really special gift that is a special menorah that you can use without flame. So if you're curious, check it out. And it's not an electric menorah per se. So you're going to want to get one of these packages. I feel like I'm one of the NPR hosts asking for donations and talking about our gifts. But anyway, they're very cool. And you can pick them up and say hello to Rabbi Schaefer. Will be there on Monday, as well as some staff if you pick up. We also, on one of the days of Hanukkah, I believe it's the fourth night, we are going to try, and this is, policy permitting. We'll see what's happening by the I believe it's the 14th of December. with numbers, with regulations. We're going to try to gather in small groups in our parking lot. I think we're calling it lighting in the latka. So forgive us. But we're hoping that during a 4-hour block in 20-minute shifts, we might be able to say hello to a lot of people, and you'll hear some Hanukkah music. I will sing from a very far distance into a microphone, and we'll all be distanced. So please look in your newsletter and on our website. We have something going on every single night of Hanukkah, and including Hanukkah Chopped Family Edition. That is a cooking competition, and you are definitely not going to want to miss that. So please join us. And please do give us gift cards or money to buy gift cards, which the information on how to get that to the temple and the deadline is in your newsletter. Tomorrow morning, Rabbi Schaefer will be leading a Torah study at 10:30 a.m. And we hope to see you. One more thing. As I said before, when Larry shared and
You froze, Rabbi. Technical difficulties. Or is it us?
You're frozen.
Okay, so it's not us.
I don't think she knows.
She might not be connected anymore.
Right. I think that's the whole problem.
Don't you worry. Rabbi Berkman will be back with us to close out the service any moment.
We're unmuted.
Meditation.
Shabbat Shalom. Let's close it out together, friends. Shabbat Shalom. Olam Chesed. Olam Chesed Yivaneh. Tai-dai-dai, tai-dai, adonai. Olam Chesed Yivaneh. Tai-dai-dai, tai-dai, adonai. Olam Chesed and Olam Chesed Yivaneh. Tai-dai-dai, tai-dai, adonai. And Olam Chesed Yivaneh. Tai-dai-dai, tai-dai, adonai. I will build this world from love. I will build this world from love. And if we build this world from love, and if we build this world from love, then God will build this world from love. Olam Chesed one last time. Olam Chesed Yivaneh. Olam chesed yivaneh. Shabbat Shalom, friends. I believe Rabbi Berkman has just joined us, hopefully, for some closing words.
All right. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Rabbi.
Okay. I'm hearing you through my computer and not my phone, and that's very strange. So I'm on my phone now. I am so sorry. My Wi-Fi went down. I sincerely apologize. Here I am. This is disconcerting because I can't see you. I can see some of you. So as I was saying, so I was just finishing up announcements, and you get the idea, I think. And it looked like Josh was singing Olam Chesed Yivaneh. Is that right? Awesome. So I'm sorry if I interrupted the song, Josh. Thank you for taking over.
It was perfect
This is only the
timing,
second
Rabbi,
time my
for coming
internet has
back.
crashed during the service, so I guess that's a pretty good record, but still gonna work on getting that Ethernet cable. I'm sorry, everyone. And mostly I really want to see all your faces at once, and I can't on my phone. And I wanted to introduce you to Hershey. So those of you who have stayed throughout the service for the express purpose of meeting my new dog, I shall reward you. Hershey, wait, can you say hi? Hi, Mommy. That's Hershey. He looks just like Coco, right? You guys everyone can unmute.